Can I get a Halloween howl? Oh! Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Gwen Matthews, and I'm the Director of Education and Communications here. I am so happy to be greeting you today, and a warm and spooky welcome to our friends gathered here in our sanctuary and on Zoom. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and engage the world as spiritual seekers. May we take these words to heart. If this is your first time at our congregation, welcome. We don't always look like this. We invite you to fill out a connection card located in the pew in front of you so we may connect you with events and programs that interest you. You can drop this card in the offering plate when it gets passed around. We'd love to send you our weekly e-newsletter channels. For those joining us with young children, nursery care is available down this hallway. Door is on the left. It's for babies and toddlers or anyone who's feeling a little extra squirmy. Following our service, all are invited to join us for a special coffee hour outdoors. Coffee hour minus the coffee, but other special treats will be available. Before our service begins, I have one announcement. Many, 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 many thanks to all who baked, chopped, shopped, scooped, served, set up, cleaned, and ate at our main farm supper last night. The joy in the kitchen and the gathering room could be felt, and the meal was a great success. We raised almost $2,000, with a little bit more to be raised if you purchase some of the leftovers today. All of that $2,000 plus will be given to Furniture Friends. Woo. We give special thanks to our friend Cindy Guernsey, who once again orchestrated this big event with peace, friendship, and great culinary skill. Thank you, Cindy, and thank you all. And now, I invite you to take a deep breath as we settle into this time together. Our music director, Sam Chandler, will lead us into worship.
Good morning. How are you? No, I never imagined that this would be happening to me either. My name is Hillary. I am honored to serve as your astronautical minister this morning, and it is with peace and friendship that is out of this world that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done, you are welcome here to infinity and beyond. Today, friends, hang on. Okay. Today, friends, we celebrate Halloween, a holiday that stems from the Celtic festival of Samhain, which marks the end of harvest season. Given that daylight shortens and darkness lengthens this time of year, it was and is still believed that the veil between the living and the spirits of the dead is thin right now, and contact between the living and the spirits of the dead is possible right now. Some of these spirits might be welcome guests, and others less so. And folks, no matter what you believe might be reaching through the veil to you this season, you can't be faulted for thinking that this whole premise is pretty darn spooky. And so, today, in honor of our month of courage and the courage it takes for us to welcome these spirits or face our ghosts, we offer a service about fear, holy fear, and the lessons we can learn about ourselves and our orientation to the world around us when we contemplate what scares us. Our opening words this morning are by a poet who's masterful at writing about fear, so much so that sometimes I think Edgar Allan Poe was just a big old scaredy cat. I offer a few excerpted stanzas from, of course, The Raven this morning, the ultimate poem about freaking out when you hear something go bump in the night. Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." But the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently, my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you." Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Good morning. My bewitching, hair-raising, star-sailing friends. So glad you passed through our chamber door this morning. Let's take a moment now to turn to one another and wish each other a good, spooky, holy Halloween. I invite you to rise in body and spirit, my friends, and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 18 in your gray hymnal, "What Wondrous Love Is This?"
What wondrous love is
Thank you, choir. Friends, I invite you to rise in body or spirit with me now and join me in saying aloud the words of our unison affirmation, which is written in your order of service. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people. Mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge, we respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future. And I invite any kiddos or folks young at heart to come forward and help me light the chalice right now.
Just try it, my mom would say. It's not that scary, my older sister would tell me. We'll be right there with you, my dad would offer. But each time, I would stubbornly refuse. I'm afraid of roller coasters. It's not the height, I like Ferris wheels, and it's not even really the speed, I can go fast in cars. I think it's the same reason I'm afraid of roller skating and ice skating and skiing, and well, anything that's slipping or sliding. What really scares me is the loss of control. Physically losing control and crashing or falling is enough to make me hesitate, enough to make me pass on roller skating birthday parties or ski trips. But even scarier still is feeling like the events of my life are outside of my control. Like this coming election. I don't get to control the outcome. That feels scary. The not knowing and maybe feeling like I'm powerless. Even in the face of things outside of my control, though, I can find ways to overcome this fear. I can use my own inner strength to find my courage by telling myself affirmations like, you may not be able to control the outcome of any given event, but you can work hard and try your best to have things turn out well. And you may not be able to control what happens, but you are in control of how you respond to it. I'm still afraid sometimes of things that are beyond my control, but being brave doesn't mean never being afraid. It means keeping on every day in a world that sometimes feels out of control and doing the little bits that I can to bring some calm, order, and kindness to the world.
I'm afraid of getting a shot. Even when I was little, I used to get so scared and nervous before a checkup because I knew I would have to probably get a shot. I was most scared because I didn't really like even thinking about the pain of a shot, and I didn't like the uncertainty of, will it hurt? Will my arm be sore? I've thought about it now, and I think what I really am afraid of is not just getting the shot, but the feeling of being sick or hurt. I realize that those shots hurt, and my arm will most likely be sore. That pain does not last forever. The body has a really awesome power of healing itself. So I tell myself, you have to accept that your body will feel pain for a little bit in order to protect you from illness that is much worse. It can cause a lot more pain and harm. A mantra I think to myself when I'm in these moments and I'm sitting in the doctor's chair is, I am in control of my body. It is my job to protect my body and keep myself safe. Or even simpler, I think, this will hurt, but I will heal and be even stronger. I think that applies to life as well, other things that might hurt us, right? Both physically and spiritually or mentally. When I repeat that mantra, I feel better and I feel less scared about getting a shot. I feel more in control. And now it's so much easier for me.
Well, after careful reflection, my friends, it is with earnestness and mild embarrassment that I confess I am afraid of the dark. There are few times and places where I am less at ease than when I am walking in dark woods, staying alone in a dark house, or swimming in deep, dark water. And of all these dark and shadowy scenarios, it is being alone in the woods at night that scares me the most. In fact, the last time I can recall screaming in fear was a few years ago when I lived down a long dirt road in the middle of a big forest. Once the sun set, it was wicked dark there. Pitch dark. So dark that when you turned the lights out and went to bed, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Thankfully, I had an exhausting job at the time, so I fell asleep pretty easily at night, but there was one point every evening that compelled me to screw my courage to the sticking place and face my fear of the dark. Taking my dog out one last time before bed. And of course, Smokey liked to actually have a walk. It wasn't just a run-in, run-out scenario. So each night, with a slightly quivering hand, I would reach for her leash and a flashlight, and we would head out and walk up that dirt road for a while. And generally, despite the howling coyotes in the distance, the occasional snapping branch in the woods, and the complete unknown that existed beyond the range of my flashlight, we were okay. Darkness there, and nothing more. But distinctly I remember one night when on our walk, Smokey stopped in her tracks, statued, and let out a shaking in fear, I scanned the woods with my flashlight and caught sight of a silhouette of some strange, big creature in the woods. And friends, what did I do? I screamed, turned to run, tripped, and fell right down on the ground. Dropped my dog's leash in the process, who thankfully ran straight home, but left me then completely alone in the dark woods. Well, maybe not alone. Heart racing, shaking, I got up as fast as I could, sprinted home too, and locked the door behind me. Needless to say, it was a fitful night. The next morning, in the daylight, I walked to that spot down the road to make sense of what Smokey and I saw. There, I discovered that the house up from us had placed a 10-foot-tall figurine in the shape of Bigfoot along the side of the road. This Bigfoot held a sign that said, "Slow down, animals crossing." If you're ever in Littleton, New Hampshire, you can take a drive down Broomstick Hill Road. Yes, we lived on Broomstick Hill Road. And see that Bigfoot to this day. It still startles me, even in the daytime, and I think it will forevermore. Granted, my friends, my fear of the dark is ultimately a fear of the unknown, right? a fear of what unexpected thing might be lurking beyond what I can see or know or comprehend. And at the same time, my fear of the dark is propelled by the strength of my imagination, my ability to envision all the things that could happen, that could be. Though it can be paralyzing at times, my fear of the dark is ultimately an openness to possibility. But why must my powerful imagination so often lean into the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad things that could be? To calm myself on night walks with Smokey, I often looked up to the stars, so bright in that darkness. And I prayed, thought about the cosmos, made wishes. A balancing act of my imagination to remind me that much is possible in the midst of the great unknown. This holy Halloween, I hold my fear of the unknown in one hand, and I honor the power of my imagination in the other. And I charge myself to envision all the wonderful, playful, just, and joyful possibilities that could be. Let it be so. Thank you, Gwen, our night sky, Mac, our mushroom.
This week, just kidding.
My friends, my wondrous friends, we now come to the time in our service that we set aside for quiet prayer and meditation. This is a time to reflect on the events of the past week, consider what possibilities exist in the great unknown, offer prayers of loving kindness, or simply be here now in this full present moment. Following our time of quiet, all will be invited to come up and light a silent candle for a joy, sorrow, or concern you hold today. First, though, join me in taking a refreshing breath in, a calming breath out, and relax into this sacred time of quiet. At this time, all are welcome to come forward and light a silent candle for a joy, a sorrow, or concern you carry today. Though we're not sharing our feelings out loud this morning, please know our gathered community and I hold your joys and sorrows with you today and always. If you'd like to light a candle, simply come forward, down whatever aisle is easiest for you, and take a candle from our basket. You can light it from our chalice and set it in our box of collective sand. Would anyone like to light a candle this morning? I close this time by lighting 3 additional candles. The first for these glowing lights of joy and sorrow and concern and feelings that stretch beyond words. May they glow ever brighter. The second for all that we hold inside today, unable to express at this time. And the third, for all of the joys and sorrows, celebrations and catastrophes that exist beyond these walls, yet call for our love and attention. May you be well. May we be well. May all manner of things be well. Amen.
This week, in the spirit of honoring courage, we share our offering with the UUA Disaster Relief Fund to aid affected congregations in the path of Hurricane Ian over Southwest Florida. The UUA is already awarding grants to aid affected congregations, such as the UU congregation of Fort Myers, where the building and campus received significant damage, at least $20,000 worth. Let's help the UUA aid our congregations, their members, and their communities. For those in the sanctuary this morning, we will be passing the offering plate to one another. For those gathered with us online, you are invited to make your offering using the donate button in the order of worship. You may also make an offering by dropping a check in the mail. Thank you.
Thank you all for your generosity. Thank you, choir. Thank you, Sam, our rainbow. So what are you afraid of? Roller coasters? Getting a shot? The dark? Something else? And what's the deeper fear there? Losing control? Being hurt? The great unknown? And what great power within you creates and compels these fears? And how can you affirm and harness this strength in new beneficial ways? These are the questions that Gwen, Mac, and I posed to ourselves this past week. And now we invite you to reflect on them today in this, our holy Halloween service. And we come to a time at this point when we welcome you to turn this reflective practice into a creative practice. And if that charge strikes fear in your bones, well, take it as inspiration. Upon entering our sanctuary this morning, you were given a piece of paper and a pencil or two. If anyone does not have these items, please raise your hand and an usher can be by to give some to you. Oh, we have a few folks down at the front. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Ruth. Just keep your hands in the air if you need a couple pencils and a piece of paper. Thanks, Dorothy. And on one side of your little piece of paper, we ask you to draw what you're afraid of. It might be a very realistic rendering. It could be symbolic or totally abstract. You might just put pencil to paper and see what happens when you mull over the question, what am I afraid of? We'll give you a couple minutes to play around with this practice. Take your time, take a breath, and just see what emerges now as you draw what scares you. perhaps just give yourself 5 or 10 more seconds to finish up your thought. And take a moment to just notice how you feel in your body, perhaps sad or on edge, maybe even keeled. And look at what you've drawn. Notice if there's curves or circles, jagged edges, movement, stillness. And ask yourself, is there a power, a strength, a skill within me that I can affirm and use to help move through or move with this fear? What helps you when you're afraid? If you like, you can write this affirmation or this strength on the other side of your card. It might be a sentence, just a word. If you're in the mood to keep drawing, it can be a drawing. Mine, for instance, is much as possible with my powerful imagination. Take your time again and ponder what strength in you exists right alongside your fear. Just finishing up your thought. Hold your card in your hand, this little piece of paper that holds your fear and holds your power. Both things that are a part of who you are and are important to who you are. And take a breath and simply honor your life. Your tender and strong body. Your loving heart and relationships. Your bright mind. And all of your thoughts. All that you are capable of. At the end of our service today, once we leave that chamber door, you're welcome to join me outside, right outside at the bottom of our steps, where you'll find a fire pit. And you can join me in placing your piece of paper in the fire, if you like, a ritual of releasing, of letting go of your fears, and offering up your strength to infinity and beyond. And if you'd like to keep your card instead of burning it, do what feels right. As we close this time of ritual, I invite you once again to rise up singing with me in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1012 in your teal hymnal, When I Am Frightened.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me? Sing to me quietly. Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me his eyes, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, show me when I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will if you will show me
Friends, won't you join me in a closing time of prayer and benediction? May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings experience profound joy in the causes of profound joy. May all beings be free, be brave, and know love. Amen. And will you join me in the words of our unison benediction? For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. May those who come and seek embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it. See you outside, my friend.